Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today we are celebrating the blog hop for Tara, so I'm going to have the links for that down below so that you can go along on the video hop. I'm starting with the Sprinkle stencil. This is from Mint Owl Studio and it is brand new in the shop today. And it goes perfect with one of the sets that was released last month. So I'm going to be showing you that. I'm working on a piece of Coordination's 110-pound cardstock. I want a really heavy cardstock since I'm going to be adding some embossing paste over this stencil. And this is just going to be my background. So I have some white embossing paste and I'm using my palette knife to just spread that evenly across the stencil. I want to make sure that I don't get any outside the edges of that stencil on the back of the card. You could cover that with washi tape just to make sure that you don't get any of it on the back. But I'm just using a thin layer and spreading this along my card base. If you wanted to tint your embossy paste, you can always add some distress ink or any other type of ink, and I have some different videos showing that, so I will link those as well. So once I get that done, I can go ahead and lift that off, and then you want to make sure that your stencil and your craft mat are completely clean right away because otherwise that will stick on there if it dries. So I'm using 3 different colors of distress inks. I have the Shabby Shutters, the Peacock Feathers, and the Shaded Lilac, and I'm just placing those on my nonstick craft sheet and then adding a little bit of water to each one. I always like to start with less water because you can always add more. And then I'm going to take my paintbrush and I'm working on a piece of distress watercolor cardstock and I'm just adding some color into my background. I'm not doing anything fancy, I'm just taking the brush and simply adding it. And I'm going to kind of overlap those colors so that they blend really well together. I chose 3 colors that do blend well. When you're working with watercolors, you just want to make sure that you don't create a brown background, unless that's what you're going for. But if you're adding colors, you want to make sure that they're in the same color family so that they do blend well. And then I'll just go back in and add colors as I see fit and make sure that they're all blending. So I'm going to set that aside to dry, and while that's drying, I'm going to be stamping. So I have my Mint Owl Studio Sweet Treats stamp set, and this is the set that goes perfectly with that Sprinkles stencil. So I'm going to stamp this with my Tuxedo Black Memento ink on a piece of Coordination's 110-pound cardstock. I stamped one of the cupcakes. And then I'm also going to be stamping the little cupcake stand. Now this has many different sweet treat images that you can use and also some really fun sentiments. So all of the supplies I'm using on this card are linked below, and there is a brand new Mint Owl Studio release today that you are definitely going to want to check out because there's some awesome stamp sets. So I am coloring this in with my Copics. I'm starting by coloring in the cake stand with my C1. It's a really light gray color. That's kind of just my base layer. So then I'm going to go in with the C3 and just add little bits of shading to this. And then I'll add in darker shades with the C5. And then I'm going to go back in with the C3 and blend those colors out. And then I'll do the same thing with the C1 just to make sure that everything is blended and smooth. I apologize if in this video if my voice cracks or something. I've been dealing with a summer cold right now, so I have some videos filmed and all ready, and I was going to do voiceovers, but this cold has definitely taken over. So for the cupcake, I'm using the BG13, and I'm coloring in the entire base. I'm just using this one color since it's a little bit more difficult to color this in with the little dots all over to do shading and stuff. It's definitely possible, but I kind of wanted to take the easier route on this. And I'm just going over that twice to make sure that it's blended and that there's no streaks or anything. And then I'm coloring in the dots with the YG09. For the cupcake itself, I'm using the E31, and then for the frosting, I'm using the E39. I wanted it to be a vanilla cupcake with chocolate frosting. And then I went ahead and fussy cut both of those out. So I cut right alongside the line, and then I used a black marker along the edges. Next, I'm taking one of the stitch scallops from Lawn Fawn, and I have 3 different colors of cardstocks. I have a lime green, a light purple, and a teal, and those match the distress inks that I used on the background. So I'm just going to run that through my Cuttlebug, and you can see how all of those edges are now cut. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere these right on top of that watercolor cardstock. I'm just kind of lining these up to see how I want them to go. So then I'll take some adhesive and just add that to the back, and then I'm going to slightly have that teal one peek out from underneath, and then I'm going to do the exact same thing with the lime green one. Hopefully the quality of my voiceovers are also going to get better in the future. I just ordered a brand new microphone because my computer one seems to be doing some funny things, so hopefully in the near future I will get that microphone and things will be looking up on my channel. I'll get some more videos done for you guys. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp my sentiment with the Tuxedo Black Memento ink as well. It says, "Hope your birthday is the sweetest." I just love that sentiment. I think it goes perfectly with the images, and it's just a really sweet sentiment. So next I'm going to take some May Arts Natural Twine, and I'm going to tape one of the edges onto the back and then bring it over to the front and do the exact same thing on the other side. It's kind of the cheater method of tying bows. It's much, much easier to do this way. And then I have one more piece that I am going to take and tie a bow right on top of the sentiment. So then I can go ahead and just trim off the ends. I'm going to keep it pretty short since it does go over that sentiment and I don't really want it to cover it up that much. So then I'm going to go ahead and attach my cupcake and the cupcake stand onto my card. And I'm using some 3D foam squares. I had the smaller ones from Best Creation. I actually had some of the larger ones, but I ran out, so I'm also going to be attaching the watercolor piece with the small ones as well. It just took a little bit more time. So I'm going to have that mostly on the purple cardstock that I added. And then I'm also going to attach that cupcake with those foam squares as well. And I'll just have that placed so that it looks like it is sitting on the cupcake stand. Like I said, I have my card base here, so the one with the embossing paste, and then I'm going to take some 3D foam squares and add that all along the back of the cardstock piece. And then I'll go ahead and attach it to my card base. So you can slightly see that textured background. So for a couple last finishing touches, I'm adding some diamond stickles to the frosting just so that it's really sparkly and fun. And then I'm also going to add some of these clear flower sequins. Unfortunately, these are no longer in stock at Mint Owl Studio, but I will link to where you can find them down below. I'm just using some multi-medium in the matte finish to add those. I think it works the best for adding sequins. They really stick right into place when you add them. And then I'm also going to take and add one to the cupcake, just so that it looks like it is sitting right next to the frosting. And then that is my finished card for today. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, and you will subscribe to my channel if you're not already, and I will have all of the links to the supplies and to the blog hop down below. Thank you guys so much for stopping by, and I will see you next time. Bye!